When I experience an obstacle or challenge, I'm going to move past it. I'm going to shatter that glass ceiling and I'm going to keep going.
It hurts to smash a glass ceiling.
Wow, we literally have to be superheroes to walk through this life.
While I might have been the first, I pray that I'm not the last.
Janine, welcome.
Hey, good morning. How are you, Joshua?
Good morning to you, and good morning and whatever time it is to all of our viewers and all around the world. Welcome to Taking Her Lead. And as always, here we strive to give women a platform to tell their stories and explain how they lead. These conversations give us unique insights into the impact that women can have in transforming the way we work and the way we live. So today we have the amazing Lisa Rueff. And Janine, this came about through you making a connection with her. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. But before we get started, I just wanted to make sure that you knew. I don't know if you saw the statistics on our audio.
That's right.
podcast.
That's right. You mentioned that.
Grace Van Leeuwen, she was downloaded around the world, and amazing. And so we added 12 new countries, and yay,
It's incredible.
we're so excited.
Yeah.
We're kind of like our dream is coming true kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we even added another state. So
Awesome.
Grace, we just really appreciate that interview. And we know Lisa's going to be just as exciting.
Yeah.
I met Lisa at Wisdom 2.0 a couple years ago. It's been a while, maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with her at her booth. She designs this. She's designed this most incredible jewelry, and she has a passion and a story behind it that just, I was so inspired. I was like, okay, this is not the last time I'm going to see this woman. So I did some research online and I bought her game that she, that just changes the way I do Girls Weekend. Right. And so I even have a Sparked group once a month. And so I just looked her up and started kind of connecting, and she responded, and look, here she is. I'm so excited to have her here today. Just all from a conversation at Wisdom 2.0. You just don't know what it's going to be in your future, right?
No kidding. And we had her co-creator, Jen Mazer, on our audio podcast 6 months ago. Like that.
Just as dynamic. Yep. She was episode, I don't know, 20 or 21, somewhere around there. And she was having her baby, remember? That was back in November. So her baby must be older now, but how exciting. So we have them both. They each have a unique story too. Their stories are nothing alike. I mean, they intersect, but they're not alike. So I'm excited to hear Lisa's story today.
This is great. A couple things that are coming up. This week, we'll be dropping an audio only on Thursday, as we usually do, with Adalazia Devona. She's Sardinian and Italian and has done amazing work in gender equity. So tune into that one. That'll be awesome. And then next Monday, our upcoming live stream is going to be with Ilaria Biancacci, another Sardinian and Italian, coincidentally.
Yes.
So, and we're going to have to connect them because they don't know each other.
Wow, that's exciting.
And Ilaria founded and leads WemPower, which is empowering women around the world into positions of influence. So that should be pretty fabulous. So, Janine, anything else you wanted to say?
No, I'm excited for Lisa. Oh, well, and our platforms. SoundCloud, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and Pandora. The biggest compliment you could give us would be a rate and review. And
any of those.
And I'm excited to have Lisa. So let's get started.
Without further ado, Lisa Rueff. Here we go. Bring her on here. Nick's going to do it. And Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
Hi.
So how is your day? How are things going today for you? Where are you? And those
My day's been incredible. I'm visiting my mom and dad right now in Atlanta, Georgia. And yeah, I've been actually the last 4 hours moderating on a platform called Clubhouse, which has been incredible. So I've been moderating on 2 different topics, one being manifestation and the other about how to jumpstart your morning with a lot of just really sacred rituals and practices. So
wow, I would love
maybe
to
I need to jump off and go see.
Yeah,
go look at that group. Topic. That's awesome.
They happen every day, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then 10 a.m. to noon. Well, it's still going, but now I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so I'm on Clubhouse, and probably many people are. How would I jump onto that group?
So you can follow me on Clubhouse,
Okay.
and then I can, or you can message me on different ways through my Instagram, and then I can send you the link to.
Okay.
Oh, that's great.
We can provide the links to your viewers as well. The morning one that I do is 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every morning. It's called Miracle Morning.
Yeah.
And it's based on a book called The Savers, which stands for silence, meditation, affirmations, visualizations, exercise, reading, and scribing. And you just habit stack these savers.
Yeah. I'm very familiar with that book. Isn't that a book, The Miracle Morning?
It is a book, yeah.
Yes.
It's an amazing book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out. That's perfect because it's 5:30 in the morning for me. So
Yeah.
I struggle to get up, and that'd be a good way to do it.
There
So
you go.
tell our listeners where you're based and a little bit about you, because I don't think you're far from home.
Yeah.
So I live in Northern California. I live in an area called the Bay Area, and the city that I live in is Sausalito, which
Great.
is just when you
So
cross the
cute.
Golden Gate Bridge. I know it's the sweetest town.
It is sweet.
And I'm on a heart-based mission to spread love worldwide.
Mhm.
You can see from my necklace that I'm wearing.
Yes.
I'm wearing lots of visible love, and I actually make this jewelry from my ears.
I bought my wife some. You know that.
Yes, thank you. Hopefully
Yeah.
she loves it. Rings.
I loved it. Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah, so that's one of the ways that I like to spread visible love. And I also do coaching. I'm a manifestation and self-love mastery coach.
Mhm.
And that's one of my favorite things to do is work with clients and get them out of limiting beliefs and into liberating actions, and from self-loathing to self-loving. And I customize meditations for people. I created a board game called Sparked.
Yay.
Yay!
There it is.
Yeah,
It's
there it
awesome.
is.
We know it. We love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about it, though. Talk about it.
The game comes with, my favorite is that it comes with this gold sparkly wand. That was the first thing that Jen and I made. And we insisted on it because it's, when you talk with it, it's like a microphone, it's playful, it's empowering,
whimsical,
whimsical, it's fun.
all those things.
And then there's this beautiful wheel. In the wheel, there's 8 categories: gratitude, generosity, gratitude, can't tell, but
adventure, yes.
Gratitude, generosity, love, passion, opportunity, happiness, and adventure. Yes. And I came up with the idea. I wanted there to be more inspiration and connection and positivity. Yeah. The game, I downloaded the game in 2016, and I'm so glad that you've been playing it with your friends and
religiously, and at executive retreats. I've used it for icebreakers and all kinds of fun things. Lisa, it's magnificent. It really bonds and people and creates that little bit of vulnerability you need to create a interaction, even with people who don't know each other very well. I think it's even more powerful.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because when Jen and I started creating the game, I have a very dear friend who had a game company, a multi-million-dollar game company. She had since retired, but she was our advisor because I brought this game concept to her, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I love it. I think it's really got some potential." And she's like, "I'm going to mentor you for free. And I'm going to meet you once a month, and I'm going to give you a checklist. And you're not going to come, I don't want you to come back until everything that every single thing on the checklist list is done."
Dialed it in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so one of the things she was like, you have to focus group and test this game often, and you have to get as much feedback as you can. And she said, I want you to try it with people who know each other really well. And then I want you to try it with complete strangers. So bring people together who've never met, because I see it as an opportunity, not just for people to, just play with their friends, but to play in all different
Yes. Yes.
The first time I played was with my book club, and the second time I brought 8 women together who none of them knew each other. And within 30 minutes, they felt so bonded. It was like long lost friends coming together. Yeah. Just such a heartfelt, meaningful, inspiring way.
That's exactly
so
what
Lisa, so I used to do this very thing with my staff, but not in such a strategic and formatted and thought through way. I wish I'd had the game. All those years of doing it, I absolutely wish I'd had the game. It is awesome. Yeah, and Janine and I have played it too. So
yeah, it's just really remarkable. And I think that, every time I think of that one card that says, think of all the travel songs that you can possibly sing.
Yeah.
I sing that Winslow, Arizona, all the way to Tacoma, Philadelphia, Atlanta, and LA, all the places
66.
I've lived or lived near. And every time I think I get that card, I'm singing that at the top of my lungs. And I love the game just to sing, because I never sing otherwise. It's so funny for everyone jumping in with the travel songs, and it really creates
leaving on a jet plane.
And, everyone
vulnerability.
And West Virginia, the country roads. So it's just really great. Well, thank you for being on the show. And I think you've already answered. We usually say, what's your current position? And you've answered that. That's incredible.
Lisa, if you can, I'd love to hear, just jump in. If you could talk.
I do a bunch of things. So that's
you do. Yeah. So talk a little bit about what your organization does now, Collective Hearts, and the impact that it has, both through the products as well as some of the giving back that you guys do. And then if you can go back in time a little bit, because this is your heart for people, your heart for transformation has been a thing for a long time. So kind of start with Collective Hearts and then work backward just a little bit would be wonderful. Okay.
So my company, Collective Hearts, it's a company the jewelry part of it is we make hearts to spread more visible love in the world. And as you can see from what I'm wearing, this is one of our larger designs. Yeah. It's very, it's incredible because when I first came up with the idea, it was through the game Sparked. Oh. I don't know if you know this story, but the game, as I was sharing, we did a lot of focus group testing. And there's a question in the happiness category. And the question is, what do you believe is the most uplifting thing happening in the world today? Now, when I first started focus testing, this was early 2016, and people would light up when they got that question, like, what's uplifting happening that you think is happening today? And people would just, share all different kinds of things. Well, then politics started becoming more prevalent, or the divisiveness that was happening in politics. And I started to see a noticeable shift in people's expressions from going from, excited to really I remember once leading a retreat at Esalen, and people were like digging deep. And this was at a place, Dan Siegel was one of the teachers. We were the most amazing teachers, and people were still struggling to find something in the news earlier in the week. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? There needs to be more visible love in the world. And so I brought this, you guys can see, this is an even larger necklace.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So I brought this design and I traced it on a sheet of paper. And if you see this on a sheet of paper, it's quite large.
Yeah.
So I brought it to a friend of mine and I said, who's a jeweler? I said, would you make this for me? And she said, well, I can make it for you, but it's going to be really big. And I said, great. The bigger, the better.
I love it.
It's going to be tacky big. And I said,
bold.
The bigger, the tackier, the better.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, I'll make it for you. She was very hesitant. So she made it for me. I picked it up 2 days later and I put it on, and I had on a red shirt, and you can see when it's it really pops. And this is even smaller than the one I was sharing about.
Yeah.
So she said, oh my God, it's actually stunning. And she said, I want to make myself one. Would you mind? I'm like, no, let's both represent.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think hearts are copyrighted.
Yeah. So then I said, I'm going to go across the street to the grocery store. Do you want anything? She said, no. Literally the moment I walked into the grocery store, into the produce session, I got bombarded. I was wearing, again, this shirt that vibrantly showed off the necklace. And this first woman was like, where did you get that necklace? How do I get one? I'm like, well, my friend just made it for me. I could see if she'd want to make one. Yeah. She's like, please do. I need that in my life. And so I got her number. Got a little further in the produce session. Another woman stopped me and said, where did you get that? So it was like this ripple effect. So by the time this, literally not even 10 minutes, I go to the salad bars, ravenous. This one woman stops me and she's like, where did you get that necklace? I have to have it. At this point, I felt like a broken record. I was like, and she said, can I buy it off your neck? And I said, wow. I said, I don't know. And she said, I have to, because I wasn't sure if Amy would make me another. I already was feeling very connected with it. And She said, I'm on a red eye tonight back to Dallas, Texas. I'm giving a presentation tomorrow for 150 people, a keynote, and I have to wear that necklace. She said, I have to get people out of their heads and into their hearts. So I said, hold on a second. So I called my friend, Amy, the jeweler. I was like, is there any way that you would make about 10 more of these necklaces? And she's like, I guess I could. Why? And I said, well, every woman in Molly Stone's wants one. And there's like a woman who's wanting to buy mine off my neck. And she's like, she said, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, totally. yeah, I'm happy to. And I'm like, well, could you make one for me soon? Because I'm already missing it. She's like, I'll make it for you later this afternoon. So that's how it started.
Wow.
It's a component. I don't have the flowers with me right now. Whenever from the beginning, when I started selling these, I enclosed a small little heart with it, so that when you received the large heart necklace, the invitation was to give a small heart away
to someone else,
spread more visible love.
Yeah.
And I built a children's home and school in Haiti, and a portion of the proceeds either goes to the children's home in Haiti, or we do these really amazing collaborations. So I want to show you this necklace to begin. This is our Black Lives Matter necklace. And this past year in June, on June 1st, I already had a rapport with the co-founder of Black Lives Matter. Her name is Patrice Cullors. I have to pause and say that, let me just reverse. When the necklaces, whenever you wear them, you literally get stopped, and people are like, oh my gosh, and you get to talk about love. They're literally magnets of love.
Yeah.
So so the jewelry's been on a journey itself, and whenever you wear it, whenever anyone wears it, you get stopped. So a couple of friends of mine went to go see the co-founder of Black Lives Matter speak 2 years ago. Pretty soon after, maybe 6 months after I started making the necklaces, and a friend was wearing the necklace, and they went up to speak with Patrice after the event and said, they were just sharing with her how inspiring what a amazing speaker she is, and all the work she's doing. And Patrice is talking to my friends, and she's like, hey, where'd you get that necklace? She kept looking at my friend's necklace, and my friend is like, oh, my friend Lisa makes it. I can get another. Can I give this to you? Can I put it on you? And Patrice is like, that would be amazing. So she ends up introducing us, and we had talked about co-designing a necklace together. Never happened, but we kept, like, she loves these earrings. I've sent her some other things over, in the last couple of years to thank her for the work she's doing.
Yeah.
So I reached out to her on June 1st. It was very shortly after the George Floyd incident happened. And I sent her a picture of a necklace similar to this. And I said, if we actually just are creating a design like this, could this be the Black Lives Matter necklace? And I immediately hear from Patrice. Now, mind you, I'd been following her that day on Instagram. She'd been interviewed on CNN that day. She'd been interviewed, and I did not expect to hear back from her. And she was just
busy gal. Yeah.
She's like pioneering the civil rights movement of today. Yeah. And she's like, that would be amazing. I would love it. So I ended up having, because it's two different women to make this, my friend that makes the hearts, and then another woman. If you look closely, this is all their hand embedded microjet beads. Right. And so Patrice and I make a few tweaks to the necklace. I'm able that same evening to priority ship or express ship one to her and another of the co-founders of Black Lives Matter. And then we started cranking these out. By the end of June, with like the sale proceeds alone, because 100% of the profits went, after proceeds, we raised $22,000 for Black Lives Matter with this necklace.
In a month.
It's amazing, the outpouring of support of people just wanting to wear and represent. Right. Yeah. And then this is another collaboration we did. This is a pink similar necklace, and it's for breast cancer.
Wow.
So past year, the first year we supported her, which is a Bay Area-based breast area company. And then last year we did Think Pink. So
wow, I can see your passion for this. And you know what? You're right. When someone stops you, they're really wanting connection. they're really wanting that moment. Then they say, hey, listen, I love that necklace. You know that they're wanting connection, and it's a great kind of lead in to a bigger conversation. And you've given so many examples of that how one conversation can, with Jen, with me at Wisdom 2.0, with Patrice. I mean, all those things are one conversation at a time. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's been incredible too.
Powerful.
I mean, story after story after story. So,
wow. Lisa, thank you so much. Would you do a little backward looking now to some of the earlier, you touched on Haiti, and if you talk about some of the other organizations that you founded, going back in time a little bit, that would be really cool.
I'll also share a little bit more about Haiti. So in 2010, the earthquake struck.
Yeah.
It was devastating. It was on all of our news feeds. And I don't think we'd had any kind of a catastrophic disaster like that in a long time, that the whole world was watching.
Right.
And I felt very compelled to go there as soon as I could after the earthquake. And I was able to go down there about 4 months after. At the time, they were only letting in first responders and, disaster relief. And from the moment I got down there, and I was the first cohort to actually be able to go on a volunteer trip to Haiti that was not part of the
there we go. Sorry.
Okay.
Come on, Nick.
So I was able to go on the first cohort. And from the moment I got down there, I was just blown away by the people in Haiti, the perseverance, the strength, the dedication, the devotion, mass devastation everywhere. And they were just working around the clock to
tirelessly
everywhere. They were just working to rebuild and to, it was really amazing to see. So while I was down there, I was so inspired and motivated that I was like, okay, prior to this, I was leading yoga retreats around the world to places like Hawaii and Costa Rica and Bali, and doing a lot of nourishing retreats and very luxurious and just pampering ourselves. So I thought, God, I cannot wait to bring my yoga students here to be able to work hand in hand with the Haitians and to just contribute responsibly and to see that we can each make a difference. So I started visualizing the whole trip as I was down there. So since 2010, I've led 22 trips to Haiti. I ended up building a 12,000 square foot home and school in Haiti. And that was done through grassroots fundraising. And I was working with a woman who I'm still working with named Bonit Afriani. She is a retired nurse that went down to Haiti. She was born and raised in this area and went down to Haiti. And right after the earthquake, she was feeding 300 children, feeding senior citizens. She was doing rice and bean distribution. And she allotted her land she had land, but she just opened it up and it became a tent city. Wow. So that's where we ended up building the children's home and school.
Wow.
She's the most accountable person I've ever worked with. She accounted down to every single penny. We only had Haitian workers work on the site. And it's like the most beautiful children's home and school, 12,000 square foot. And it's been incredible to be a part of something and to just have brought so many people down there. And I'm sharing this because I brought kids as young as 6 years old. And I brought my dad, who I think was the eldest, and he came down, he was 82 years old.
Wow.
And my dad,
unbelievable.
The first time he came down, he was 80 years old. And he dressed as a clown. He had never dressed as a clown before, but he thought, what could I do to bring a lot of joy to the kids?
Mm-hmm.
So it was around Halloween. So we went to the, party store and we found this clown costume and he's like, I'm going to be a clown. And then I said, well, why don't you, you could do something, but, the kids are going to be really excited about being a clown, but then why don't you do something like face painting? He's like, okay. And so that afternoon we got face painting stuff. And that afternoon he called the neighborhood children together and he practiced on them.
Aww.
He never face painted before. So he got a how to face paint book. So I'm sharing this because this was the oldest person. And I'll never forget that 3 children's centers we worked with was my dad came out in the clown outfit. I mean,
that's fabulous.
It was like the most exhilarating, joyful moment for the kids They all just circled around him. They were jumping up and dancing. My dad was bouncing up and dancing and singing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the youngest kids I brought were 5 years old and 7 years old.
Wow.
They spoke French, and in Haiti, there's Creole and French.
Mm-hmm.
It's Creole, so it's a mixture of.
Yeah.
And the kids at every children's center we went into, they were the first to run in. There was like no inhibition, and they just started playing with the different kids.
Yeah.
And mind you, like they had an adopted brother and sister from Rwanda,
Mm-hmm.
so they were very used to developing countries and those kind of conditions.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just incredible. And these kids had the most incredible breakthroughs with the Haitian kids. So I just want to share, and I've also brought kids who don't speak any Creole, and they also had incredible connection.
Sure.
You're
Mm-hmm.
never too old, you're never too young to make a difference. And
Mm-hmm.
part of it is just focusing on what breaks your heart the most, whether it's what's going on in the environment or with maybe animals, climate change. And I don't like to take it down the negatory road of what breaks your heart. However, whatever you're being most drawn to, pour your heart into that.
Right,
Spend
sure.
time volunteering or giving back in some kind of way. And volunteering and giving back does not need to be a financial contribution.
Right.
There's so many ways to contribute. And that could be reaching out to an organization and say, hey, a climate organization, say, hey, I don't have the financial means. However, I know here are some of my skills. How can I
time?
Right.
Yeah.
It's all about
Absolutely.
contribution. It can be something different. I want to pivot a little bit because I think this is important. What in your childhood, in your upbringing, how did you become Lisa, who kind of gathers everybody's contribution and best within themselves to create this? Because there's something that
Magnetic.
you got something somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And so tell me a little bit about that.
So apparently when I was about 2 years old, when I first started, being able to really
That's
run
early.
around, speak, I would run up to strangers. I would grab onto their legs and say, I love you. And just so I guess I've always been very motivated just to spread love.
Mm-hmm.
My first job, it wasn't really a job, my first volunteering, I really wanted to be a candy striper. I had heard about being a candy striper. And for those of you listeners who don't know what a candy striper is, it's someone who volunteers at a hospital and you wear an outfit that's got I don't know if they still have candy stripes.
Pink and white stripes.
It's like pink and white stripes. You look like a candy cane.
Yeah.
And you go and you're a nurse's assistant. So what had happened was a friend of mine this was when I was in the 6th or 7th grade, was injured. And so she went to a children's hospital, and I went to visit her in the children's hospital, and there were so many sick kids that I was whenever I visited her, I just did some really goofy things to make her smile and bring her a lot of joy. And I remember hearing and seeing a candy striper there and being just wowed by this outfit and learning about what they were doing, because the candy striper came in her room. So I was like, when I'm old enough, I want to be a candy striper.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the age was 12 or 14. That's the first thing I did.
Yeah. When you can.
Wow. So it was kind of in you to be of service, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Is there any one moment that you can think of? Was it that hospital time that you just knew, or is there, because it seems like you have an awareness of, or gratitude for having more, or noticing what you do have is better instead of what you don't have. You brought up sick children as something that you've noticed as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
pivotal moments, even as then or older, where I think this is what Janine's heading for, where your journey, you are who you are, and spreading love and being generous with yourself. But then your journey, pivots on things that you encounter or experience. Were there any of those that you can remember that really stick out?
I think it's more a culminate. I mean, I've definitely had some very pivotal moments in my life. For instance, Haiti was a very pivotal moment. That took me on a whole other trajectory because at the time I was teaching 17 yoga classes a week, which is a lot of yoga classes. And I went to Haiti after the earthquake, and that started opening up other doors for me. I ended up meeting some and I also want to speak to this, when you start to follow your heart, doors will open and things will happen that you never could possibly expect to happen. I ended up meeting a woman, and she heard about the work I was doing, and she and I led a retreat to Peru. We led her retreat to Machu Picchu because she was like, there's somewhere I've always wanted to go. I've just, there's not many people that lead retreats that do things and contribute and give back. So can we do something together? We did. And it ends up that her husband is very close with Sir Richard Branson. So she ended up inviting me to go to Necker Island, which is Sir Richard's private island. And I got to go, and I got to go 3 different times. And we ended up pitching to him this idea of creating a whole, for those who don't know, Sir Richard Branson is one of the greatest entrepreneurs of all time. He's the founder of all the Virgin companies. So Virgin Airlines, Virgin Records. And I think he has actually 200 different companies under Virgin.
Wow.
From Virgin.
I didn't know that.
So
and he has long hair. He's got long hair.
And he's the most amazing gentleman. He seems really flashy, but when you're with him in person, he is the most curious, humble, kind-hearted. He always has a notepad with him. He's always taking notes. He's an incredible listener, and he listens to listen, not to be reactive or, he really takes it in. Wow. So it's very genuine. So we pitched this idea to him of creating this company called Virgin Voluntours, of taking people on volunteer trips through under the arm of the Virgin companies. Now, mind you, he gets pitched in one day. I don't even remember the amount of, and he has to turn down 99.1%, something, very large, because the amount of pitches that come in. He immediately was like, I love this idea. Let's do it. And I remember we were so nervous going into this, talk, and I created a whole business with him. And he put us in touch with Virgin Unite founder. So I got to lead some trips with him to South Africa. I got to lead trips with Queen Nord to Jordan. So I got to do some extraordinary experiences simply by wanting to first go to Haiti, because it broke my heart to know what was going on. And I didn't know how I could make a difference. But the moment I arrived in Haiti, and I was so on purpose, it really changed the trajectory of my life.
Wow.
Just starting to lead trips, not only to Haiti, but around the world, and also doing a lot of grassroots fundraising. And that was incredible too. When I got back from Haiti, I started sharing with some of my friends that were yoga teachers. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I really want to fundraise. And I was like, and I don't have the money. And they were like, well, we'll help you. And they were looking at my pictures, and they're like, okay. So we started doing these fundraisers where the first fundraiser I did, I brought 12 yoga teachers together for a 3-hour event. It was called Collective Hearts for Haiti. Yay! Years later, came up with I love the idea of all of our hearts coming together to support Haiti. And so it's Collective Hearts for Haiti. We had 12 yoga instructors, and we all invited a minimum of 10 of our students to join. Everyone who joined contribute a minimum donation of $108. That was 100% of the proceeds would go to Haiti. Yeah. So I rented out this incredible space, and had an overhead projector that we had I want to say like 200 people in the room, or maybe 150 people. At the front of it, we had a projector, and it was just different slides of what was of my experiences in Haiti, of just seeing the kids and seeing the devastation, and it was incredible. And did some, and all the yoga teachers had 10 minutes to teach. So it was this beautiful seamless flow where I led the opening meditation, then someone led intention setting, then someone led the warming exercise, and we raised over $40,000 that day. And
nicely done.
Yeah, it was incredible. So we ended up doing 2 more of those, and yeah, it was just incredible.
The power of the network. I mean, we hear that so much, that people have to harness that collective energy that we have. That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Lisa, quick aside. Is the school and the orphanage still taking donations?
Yeah, it is.
How would someone find and do that?
So it's www.jacmelchildren.org.
Okay, all together, no dots in the middle.
Is that on your LinkedIn profile by chance?
I will make sure it's on there.
Okay, great.
Yeah, because we want to encourage people to do that. So please go ahead. Thank you.
So I, and what's been incredible too is for instance, there's a woman who's come with me to Haiti. Her name is Victoria Cressman. She's come on 3 different trips that I led. She brought all of her family members. She has 3 children, and she ended up creating her own foundation. And they have a family foundation that has built quite a few homes for a lot of the kids that we serve.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
It's incredible. So just to see like how you never know how your actions are gonna be a ripple effect on other people's actions. Yeah. But her building the children's home, her building these smaller homes for some of the kids that we work with a different organization, that has provided the family with an ability to have livelihood, to have security, and you never know how that's going to impact the kids. And so it's interesting too with this experience I'm doing a lot now with Clubhouse. I got on Clubhouse about 6 weeks ago. I've been moderating these rooms, and I just get messages from people because I lead meditations often during the experience, and people are like, oh my gosh, your meditations have changed my life. So now I'm actually, because of Clubhouse, I'm customizing meditations for people.
Wow.
And that's been incredible. Yeah, I've started doing these Zoom calls. So if anybody ever wants a custom meditation, it's incredible. We do a 30-minute Zoom call, and 15 minutes, I just ask you a few questions, and then I close my eyes and I just channel like source, and I lead these. We record an audible 15-minute meditation that then they get to have. Yeah. And I encourage people like listen to it for 7 days, in the morning when you first wake up and in the evening.
Yeah.
People are having incredible results. So you know like what is going to happen in any given moment. And today I actually have an interview to potentially work together with one of the leading gentlemen from the movie The Secret.
Oh, wow.
And that came about because of Clubhouse.
Right.
Wow.
So, you never know. And this podcast you guys are doing, it's extraordinary because you're really empowering leaders. And then by you giving a voice to them, who knows who's going to listen to this? And I just encourage each of you to follow your heart and just really believe in yourself. We've got these things called limiting beliefs that keep us stuck.
Preach it.
That like limiting beliefs. It's that I'm not smart enough. I'm not organized enough. I'm not smart enough. I have learned through Clubhouse this idea of turning limiting beliefs into liberating actions. So for instance,
one small thing. Yeah.
Like today, I mean, mind you, I'm not the cleanest person. I think of myself, I think of Albert Einstein, and I think like that guy probably had a little bit of chaos going on.
Yeah, sure.
I resonate.
A lot of creative people are not the logistical, meticulous mathematical. So today I was like sat down and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so messy. I'm so unorganized. I started going down and I was like, ding. Okay. Actually, Lisa, you are incredibly organized. And I just started cleaning up, and I lit this beautiful candle. It's called the Joy and Laughter Candle. And I created a really beautiful environment and workspace for myself. And I just turned a limiting belief into a liberating action by taking the step, recognizing when the thoughts are going on, and then saying, okay, switching.
Right.
So, yeah.
Lisa, can I ask? Oh, Jean, you probably have a
question. So Lisa, there are so many things I would just love to extract out of your brain. But one of the things that I think most of us are dying to know is you didn't get there alone. And who kind of helped you, guided you, inspired you? Like, there's a part of me that I think I'm a little convinced that you might have come out of the birth canal. knowing a fair
Fired
amount
up.
because
Yeah.
I'm so glad you asked.
Inspiring, but
So
I did this for you.
I'm visiting my mom and dad right now.
Mhm.
They are the most magical people you'll ever meet in your life.
Mm.
I am so unbelievably blessed. And I literally, whenever I describe my mom, I describe her as if Audrey Hepburn and Tinkerbell had a love child.
Aw.
That would be my mom.
Oh my goodness.
Literally. And if you go on my Instagram or my Facebook, I've been recording these awesome videos of, we've been having these dance parties and it has been so fun. So if you guys, like
TikTok.
Yeah. I haven't done TikTok yet. I need to. I need to get savvy about that.
Yeah.
Maybe you can help me with that.
No.
So but I'm so blessed. So I have these incredible role models and they are just so heart-based and kind and loving and nourishing. And I feel like because of them and the way they lead their lives, I just want there to be more of love in the world, because I know a lot of people have not had as inspiring role models as I have, and as a nourishing and upbringing as I have. So I know that, I'll bring it back to Clubhouse one last time.
Yeah.
I am now on an evening podcast or on an evening Clubhouse, and it's a room for to do healing. And the whole idea and the whole idea of it is like people coming together to heal and to share what's keeping them stuck, to heal like traumas that they haven't shared, that they've kept locked inside. We've only been having this room 2 weeks. Wow. It is unbelievable what people have experienced in their life. And mind you, Clubhouse is an international platform. Yeah. So there are people who are calling in from Rwanda. There are people coming in from really challenging circumstances. India. You can only imagine some of the challenges and traumatic experiences.
Horrifying.
And so it makes me want to spread even more love, and it makes me want to just amplify goodness and kindness even more. And I watched the news a lot in the last few years with everything going on. And I know that there was a lot of toxicity to the news. However, every single time I watched it, I was like, when I saw the division and the negativity and the hate, I was like, okay, it was like fuel to the fire of like, okay, this was all I want to do is spread more love, because I know that's going on. And I know it's becoming more disheartening for people every day. Yeah. So,
And love is the solution.
Right.
Whatever the question, love is the answer. So, yeah.
Lisa, are there we could talk all day long about this.
I know, I'm loving this.
All day long. I want to move on just a little bit. Are there challenges you've faced, whether internal, so limiting beliefs, doubts, or external as a woman?
All the time. Well, I don't even think I've necessarily added as a woman. I'll start with just the challenges I face.
Yeah. That's okay.
And then I'll add in the woman component. So just in general as a person, our brains are wired to have fears. It's a challenge we face every day to get out of our negative thoughts and into empowering and thoughts that can do. So I think each of us listening, we all have the challenges of just our brain, and we are our worst enemy, I think. I mean, it's amazing sometimes when I listen to my negative talk, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm my own worst enemy. And then just to recognize that, and as I was saying earlier, just turn it from self-loathing to self-loving. Self-loathing to self-loving. It's, and just, so positive affirmations are instrumental of just saying, I am statements of I am valuable, I'm worthy, I'm
deserving. Yeah.
Deserving. I'm a heart-centered leader that's here to spread love. And challenges. And at the same time, just for instance, Haiti alone, it was so unbelievably challenging to try to figure out how to build a 12,000 square foot home in school. Sure. Like the challenges we faced were almost insurmountable at times. And yet I kept visualizing the little kids, and I kept visualizing these kids that literally had nowhere to go.
Right.
And when you have an image or visual or a feeling of just, I'm fortunate that I have a roof over my head and I have money in my bank account to buy food. And these, like, I'm going to do everything I can to overcome these obstacles and challenges, because I know with my efforts, I'm going to be able to contribute.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a woman, there were times where Jen Mazer and I were wanting to get sparked. We were wanting to bring on investors. And I ended up meeting with some investors with this game that's got the gold sparkly wand. Mm-hmm. And it's got, it's a beautiful game that's mm-hmm. designed more for women. Mm-hmm. I remember going in a few investment meetings, and it was very condescending. And it was interesting too, because the 3 investors that I went and spoke with, I had been connected with them by women who they had actually funded their company. And it was interesting because, I also come across as someone that's just very heart-based. And granted, I don't have the most like business savvy, but it was interesting. They were like wanting to take this out of the game, and they were wanting to just make it a lot more mainstream and to mm-hmm. take out, to just take out some of the more nourishing, kind-hearted.
Wow. Defeminize.
Yeah. So at the end, I was like, let's just not take on investors, granted, this was like 3 years ago. And then mm-hmm. Collective Hearts, this is the beautiful game box for Collective Hearts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Yeah.
Collective Hearts when I came up with the idea of Collective Hearts, it was 11/11. We launched 11/11/2017. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of taken front and center just because these necklaces speak for themselves. And so, yeah, I have had challenges with being a woman. And at the same time, that also adds fuel to the fire. Mm-hmm. It's interesting too, with both Sparked as well as Collective Hearts, we're female-based companies and female-led companies. And people, when they hear that, really want to support that. Whenever we put that in a post, or it's really sweet now how communities, especially in the last couple of years, have really embraced female-led companies, mm-hmm. women leading with love, and yeah. So
I'm interested in knowing, talking about obstacles and challenges, how has your approach to conflict and naysayers changed from the young Lisa early in your positions of influence to who you are today? How do you navigate conflict and disagreement? And that would have been your younger self. How's that changed from your younger self?
So it's interesting. I don't really have conflict in my life. Mm-hmm. I was even married I was married 9 years, and we never fought. We had a very harmonious, loving relationship. Mm-hmm. I think we raised our voices twice. So it's wow. The way that I lead my life, I don't have conflict. There's people who disagree with me. Mm-hmm. And there have been a couple times I had to block people on Facebook because they were so negative about my positive posts. They were like, "You're so Pollyanna," and wow. I'm like, okay, but like, rude and mean.
Go on.
Yeah. So I have a very heart-centered way of just really leading. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, can I show you guys my cute mom that I was sharing about? She just walked in.
Absolutely.
This is my mom. I'm on a live stream podcast right now.
Oh my gosh.
Hello. Hi, Mom.
Doesn't she look just like Audrey Hepburn?
Yes.
No, not now.
You're so beautiful. So this
and
is
I love her necklace on her sweater too.
Yeah.
Come in one more time.
Yeah. Okay.
Love it. Beautiful.
So this is Joshua and Janine, and they're interviewing me for a live podcast.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah.
You're beautiful, and you have
Thanks for having her and raising her.
You are both beautiful. Wow.
Yeah. So they were asking me how I'm so heart-based and love-based. And I said, it's my mom. She's the intersection of Tinkerbell and Audrey Hepburn.
Yes. Yes.
You're so cute.
It's so nice.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you. So the conflict, it's because of her I don't really have much conflict. So I have this really funny thing about me that when I see people, and it doesn't matter if it's a janitor or a sanitation worker or a homeless person, I want to get to know you. I want to know your name. I want to know your story. How are you? Like I will, and I often will post about this on Facebook, just stories. I mean, more before the pandemic, I haven't been connecting with as many people, but I want to know people's stories. And I just see the goodness and the love and the beauty in everyone. Mm-hmm. So I often will be in conversation with, a sanitation worker, and I will have the most meaningful, heartfelt conversations with them. Because at the end of the day, we all want to be seen, loved, appreciated, heard, held.
Sorry, that's supposed to be turned off.
Oh, no worries. Okay.
Real life, right? Real life.
So,
please keep going, Lisa.
Yeah. So I'm almost the opposite of conflict, where I want to just really see the best in everyone. And even some government leaders that I have very different views from. I also see like the wounded child in them, and just see like, okay, they're definitely coming from a place where they need to be seen, heard, valued, and loved. And this is how they're doing it. So, I mean, mind you, I don't agree with them, so there's really not that much conflict in my life. I had some people that I've worked with on forgiveness, and I'm not sure if you all know, there's an incredible forgiveness exercise, and it comes from Hawaii, and it's called the Ho'oponopono prayer. Are you all familiar with that?
I am.
Okay, so for the listeners who are not, and for Joshua, there's this really beautiful practice that has been life-changing all over the world for people, and it's 4 statements. And the statements are, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Now you can say this to yourself if there's something you can forgive yourself for. If you've, because we all have done some things in our life that we may regret or we're not necessarily proud of. So when we have any kind of resentment or hostility to ourselves or someone else,
let it go.
It's very toxic, especially for someone, you may bear resentment to someone. They may not even know, or they may, so you holding on to that, it's detrimental to you.
Right.
So those 4 statements are so incredibly healing and nourishing. And then at the beginning, you may not be able to say, you may just be able to say, I forgive you. Thank you. You may not be able to say just yet, I'm sorry. I love you. Yeah. It can take time. However, saying these statements are life-changing.
It's a great self-compassion tool also. I mean, just for the perfectionists in the world to be able to forgive themselves, it's a great affirmation just for that. And that's the context that I've heard it in. It's powerful, very powerful.
Lisa, what are this is kind of on the topic of self-care, but also learning. What are some resources that you're gaining from right now? Books, websites, blogs, shows? What are you doing to educate yourself and to care for yourself along those resource lines?
So I have been listening. I don't know if you've heard the book Return to Love by Marian Williamson.
Heard of it. Yeah.
I had never read it, and a friend of mine was talking about it the other day, and I'm like, oh, I've never read it. She's like, you got to be kidding me. She's like, it's your Bible. Like, it's who you are. So I'm reading right now, Return to Love. It's an incredible book. Marian Williamson. She was one of our presidential candidates in 2020, or when was it? Just happened. She's an unbelievable writer. She also wrote she updated A Course in Miracles that a lot of people have taken.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to a lot of positive affirmations. I go on Zoom as well as not Zoom, YouTube. And I listen to a lot of guided meditations as well as affirmations. There's a guy named Jason Stevenson that I listen to a lot. And it's just like an hour of positive affirmations that's so energizing. And he says them and you repeat them, and he says them and you repeat them. And it's just a really beautiful way to infuse yourself with
healing. Yeah.
Healing and inspiration and just positive, life affirming statements. So yeah.
Which is antithetical to so much that we see in the media right now.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's wonderful.
And, I think the message that you bring in your contribution is really born in you doing that for yourself, right? I mean, you can't say to everybody else, hey, here's all these things, this is how you build your resilience, and not have that come from a very grounded place within you. And that takes tending to. It's not a one and done. It's a life practice. It's a life change. It's a embracing a way of being. And I think that's really hard for people.
Yeah.
To keep that consistency.
Lisa, you are influencing for good, influencing others for love. What is your hope? What are you hopeful for?
Oh, 2 of you are too.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you for recognizing that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I love what you're creating and doing and empowering leaders, and also inspiring all your listeners just to know about all of the people that are doing this kind of work. And I'm grateful for your presence and what you're creating.
Thank you very much. So that really felt good. That was unexpected. Our last question, as always, is what are you most hopeful for women? And I'm going to couch this in what you're doing in influence and women stepping into influence. That's, part of our mission here.
Yeah. So that is a wonderful question. And as have all the questions been, I am most hopeful for, there's so much power when we come together and we collaborate together and we support each other and celebrate each other and elevate each other. And it's interesting, even just as I keep going back to Clubhouse, but so many miraculous things have been happening with showing up consistently for people. And I'm in the process of creating a Heart Quarters community, a collective hearts community, where we can come together and to inspire, empower, and support each other, and bringing women together from all over the world. Because I've been doing that with the jewelry, and I've been doing that with local events that I do. In the Bay Area, I host a lot of in-person events and smaller events on Zoom where I bring people together for yoga, meditation, nourishment. And this is also going to be about, how to raise your vibration and to manifest what you want to bring into your life. And just to how we can, I think of it as a dream catcher. I have a heart dream catcher on the wall there, and how we can just weave a web, a tapestry of our hopes and dreams and aspirations together, learn about how we can support each other, and then amplify those out into the world.
Wow.
How would a woman find that?
I'm still in the process of launching it, but you can message me directly. My email is lisa@collectivehearts.co, not .com, but .co. Lisa@collectivehearts.co. And I should have it up and running in the next month.
Wow.
Cool. Okay.
When is this being?
Say again. Oh, what's that?
It's available now.
Yeah, this is live, and
it'll be the audio. It'll be
it's
later.
Recording, and so that's a great question. We can tell our viewers as well. This is recording.
I'll also offer all your viewers a discount on my jewelry as well as my game.
Wow.
Rock and roll.
They have to say to say they listen to this.
What would you like? I would like to personalize it for your show. So what would you like?
Taking her lead.
Taking her lead.
THL.
THL would be great. THL. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So as of in about 10 minutes, that will be live. That you can go on to collectivehearts.co, and we'll do a 20% discount for everybody who's
Thank you, Lisa,
for taking her lead. So I really encourage everyone to get this jewelry.
Thank you so much.
And let's, especially Mother's Day is coming up. It's holidays. These make beautiful, heartfelt gifts, and they're literally tangible tokens of love. and you cannot go anywhere without being recognized. And
yes,
it instigates heart-centered, thought-provoking questions and conversations.
So here's my final question. And I wanted to note that this is being recording right now, and in about 10 minutes, it'll be available for viewing on YouTube for eternity. But do you have, or in the future, will you have any jewelry for men?
We do have a jewelry piece for men. Let me dig it out. It's fabulous. It's called our Unity necklace. And we also make bracelets. We do. So this is the men's necklace.
Fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay.
It's awesome. It's fully adjustable. It's got a long adjustability. So it hangs
whatever you want. Yeah.
And it's hand hammered. All of our jewelry is hand hammered.
Wow.
And this is a blackened sterling silver.
Lisa, I have to tell you, I love that too. For me.
Yeah, I wear it all the time.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Gender neutral.
Yeah.
Great.
So, and it's fun too. We have these, let me just pull out the bracelets really quick. These bracelets are called Armed with Love. These are, and we have all different colors.
Oh, wow. Those are cute.
These are fully adjustable as well. Yeah, they're super cute. And
there you go. Yeah.
I used to be in women's fashion. I used to sell women's fashion. So this is all. Yeah. I love it. Lisa, this has been a privilege.
Yes.
Oh my God, it's been an honor for me.
Thank you so much. Can we schedule a Zoom call with you and us for the rest of the day?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We have plenty to talk about.
Plenty to talk about. So you are doing great work, and we're so excited for what you're doing.
You are so inspiring. Just really, how you get things done is just incredible. So, and I love that wand. I'm so glad you didn't take that out of the game.
Me too.
Yeah. Agreed.
So,
all right.
I know you've given everybody a lot to think about, and just how they can use their capacities and strengths for contribution that doesn't, like Lisa Carpenter, one of our colleagues in the comments, wrote, time is more important than money. And you are the example of how all that can come together.
Yeah. Teresa Carpenter, by the way.
Teresa. Did I misspeak?
Yeah,
Teresa
but no, she said
Carpenter.
that was great. Thank you, Teresa, for doing that. Yeah.
So,
can I leave one parting thought?
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, I'm so grateful to both of you. You hold such beautiful space. I love your questions, and you're both just so kind and supportive and enthusiastic and loving. So I'm grateful for that. And for all of you who are listening, I just want to empower you and encourage you that each of you have your own divine gifts and unique offerings and skills and abilities. So believe in yourself, because you're here for a reason. And when you can get out of your way, and a lot of what I do is just close my eyes and place my hand on my heart and take deep breaths. You get out of your head and into your heart. Just keep coming back to your dreams and aspirations, and take daily action steps to fulfilling those. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that final thought. Beautiful.
You're welcome.
Wonderful. Have a loving day.
Lisa, it was our pleasure. Yes.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yes.
So, discount code THL collectivehearts.co.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
We'll talk to you
Have a
real
great
soon.
day.
Bye.
Oh, man.
What a treasure.
Yeah, her energy is just so vibrant and willing and open. And
I want to be like her when I grow up.
I know. You know, when we talk about manifesting, that's really it. When you have an open heart and you have an open mind, things come to you, ideas, people, energy. She's an example of that. She and Jen Mazer both. You know, I'm just amazed by that.
I loved her response specifically to your conflict question, because one of my dear friends who was my CEO for many years said, when in conflict, you want to assume positive intent.
Right.
And she's adding to that dignity for people who are very different, with whom, you know, with regard to actions and beliefs, she disagrees wholeheartedly, that offering them dignity and assuming positive intent, that's huge. And I've struggled with that, and I think we all struggle with that. But
the Hawaiian poem that she mentions, I investigated that a while ago when I heard about it, and there's so much power and history behind that poem, and I can't pronounce it like as
I wouldn't be able to either.
But I'll tell you what, it's worth investigating, because that's really the underbelly of emotional regulation, and she really embodies that. I mean, you saw it in her. It's incredible.
It is incredible.
So. Yeah. Wow. What a morning, huh?
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
just amazing.
Let's talk a little bit about the show and what's coming up again, and we'll say adieu. So,
okay. Well,
yeah, we have. Go ahead.
Well, I'm excited for next week. You've kind of been doing the background for Ilaria, so I can't wait to hear what she brings us and our listeners.
Passionate Italian woman.
I'm glad that she is, because I think she'd have to be to follow Lisa Rueff today.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So I'm happy
Sort of
for
forced.
that.
Yeah, that'll be wonderful.
So who's dropping on the podcast this week again?
Yeah, on Thursday it'll be Adelasia Devona.
Oh yeah, Adelasia.
Yep.
Yeah. That's great.
And she works for the OCE.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I'm getting that right, because it's actually it's a broad international organization that works a little like the UN, but focuses on gender equity, human trafficking, and they go into the countries that they're contracted with to consult with the government and provide that nuanced expertise in 3 or 4 major areas. And so she is one of the directors for the gender equity in Macedonia, and she has been a champion for gender equity her entire life. And she, as well as Ilaria, next Monday, will talk about the incredible history, equitable history, gender history, really, of Sardinia, which stands out possibly among all nations on earth. It's fascinating. So we're really excited about that.
Yes.
Some great discussions.
Yes. Well, we will just keep continuing. If people want to hear our audio podcast, it's at takingherlead.blueberry.net.
Yep.
We are so excited to be downloaded in so many countries, and
58 now, right?
I know. I mean, I'm just really thrilled that we are sort of trying to do the same thing Lisa is, bring collective energy to women's voices and leadership and positions of influence. So it's really exciting.
We've started in the US, and that's kind of our base. And as I'd mentioned briefly during the last show, we were told that we have achieved the 49th podcast position in India. And when I first heard that, I got to be honest, I thought, wish it was America. I thought, but there's 1 billion people in India.
Gratitude. I'm happy that people are listening. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and rate and reviews matter. It really helps us find other people and find other listeners to find us. So I love that connection.
Yeah.
And
really, really cool.
And a shout out to Teresa, that I said the wrong name, because she's fabulous. She's a good egg. Yeah. And she's doing, we've inspired a few podcasts, I would say. Hera Allison was getting her podcast up and running, and Teresa Carpenter is going to be doing one, Stories of Service.
That's right. And Jacmel Osborne.
Yeah, Jacmel Osborne is another one. So I love it that people are getting their voices out there. Our guests are really showing up and putting their voices out, and again, creating a collective energy and group in the people that they influence. And so I think we're doing exactly what we were hoping to do. Yeah. So
it's awesome. This is so fun. Great. Okay.
All right. Well, see everybody next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for watching.